Hello and good day to you. Today's video, we are demonstrating the use of photographic images to make an embellishment in our digital craft technique of 12 crafts of card making. For this project, we need a photographic image, digital, a graphic software. I'm using Affinity Photo, printer. If you desire to print, you will need a printer, and you need cards to print on 250 grams to 300 grams cardstock or card. And when we are making the greeting card, the handmade greeting card, we'll tell you what we use to make those ones. I've already opened Affinity Photo. I'm going to click on File, Open, and I'm going to the folder where the card is. I'm going to make a card something like this. So for this card, I'm going to use this apple blossom, and I'll click Open. Here we have it. You can use a graphics tablet and stylus to get into tiny details. But if you are good with your mouse, that's fine. But if you are not, you can use a graphics tablet and stylus, or you zoom in. In the layer palette here, I'm just going to click on this padlock to release the background so that I can move the background. Just take on the move tool and move it, and you see that the background is being released. So go back to edit, undo. But select this selection brush tool, but before then I'd like to duplicate the background in case I make a mistake. I just do it. Then I'll uncheck or untick the main background and let the duplicate show. In the tool palette, take your selection brush. You can make it any width you desire, the pixel. Okay, that's nice. And then we'll start selecting. Before you select, you see this add subtract here. Make sure add is activated, and then anywhere you want to delete, you start clicking around it. If you go in, don't worry if the selection or matching ant. Go into the image. Like this leaf here, I want it to take part of the leaf and it's gotten into it. As we progress, we will remove them. So we've selected an image here, and I want this leaf out because I want to trim around it. If you make such mistake, you go to subtract, activate subtract, and then slightly drag the matching ant around what you don't want to cut out. You can also resize your brush. Just going to this palette on my right, navigation, and I'll zoom in so that I can see. I want to go into some minute detail. I've resized my brush to 15 pixels, and I'll activate add, and I'll go in here and decide what I want to delete. And the one I don't want to delete, I'll click on subtract, and I'll make sure I remove that. and I'll zoom out to see my selection. If you want to check, okay, I just saw one. Let me do it before I forget. Yeah. So here's my selection, and if I want to check, I can just press delete on the keyboard and see if I like it. It looks neat, that's fine. Alternatively, you can still go, this is to smoothen the edge. Go to undo, delete. Go to refine. And it's going to refine the selection, going to make the edges neat. So here's the selection, here's our selection. If we are happy with it, click OK. We can go increase the smooth to make the edges smooth, feather, and we can click apply. Then after that we click delete, and you can go on and click selection, deselect. Now we have our tubed design. Oh, I want to remove this leaf. I'm going to go back in here, go to undo, select. I'm going to remove this leaf. I don't like this other one because half of it, some portion of it is being cut off. So I'm gonna come in here, all this little selection here, make sure you remove them. Make sure no selection is strained. Okay. I'm going to click on delete and remove that one. You can also click on refine again. You can see it on this toolbar here. So here's the design. If there's any other thing you want to remove, we can remove it. Like this small one, this small selection here. Let's see, okay. I'm going to click on delete and remove that one. So now we have our tube image. Go to select, deselect. We can save it if you want to. So I'm going to save it in Affinity format. I'll say File, Save As, in that layer format. I already have one here, so I'll just take the same name and make it, I'll just say certified, so that I know the one I'm working with. Oh, blossom embellishment certified. Okay. Now we need to create the card. We are going to create an 8-inch card. File, New. So I'm working in inches. It's already there for me. But if you want to work in centimeters or whatever units, metric units, that's up to you. Page width 8, height 8, and the DPI is 300. After that, I'll click OK. So I have an 8-inch square. My ruler has been activated. Go to View, Show Ruler, and you see the ruler. Select your rectangle tool and just drag across. Because in the material palette here is white, I'm going to change it to something, let me say green. Here in the transform bar or palette, going to change, I'm resizing this square we made, no, sorry, the rectangle. I want to resize it to a square. I'm going to make it 8 by 8. Then on the X and Y axis, I'm going to fill in 0 so that it fits properly. I'm going to duplicate the rectangle in the layer palette. Change the next color to white. Then with the transform tool, I'm going to change it to 7.5. 7.5. Because I'm not so good with X and Y axis. Okay, let me activate that first. Okay. Because I'm not so good with X and Y axis, I'm going to use grid to arrange it. So go to View, Show Grid. My grid is kind of large, so go to View, Grid and Axis Manager, Basic, and I'll just play around till I So I use this to arrange my grid. Sorry, to arrange the shape. And you can see it on the X and Y axis here. Let me see if the X is on. Let me type in and see if it's going to be okay. Yeah, one side is larger than one, so I'll just go to my normal side. I was trying to use the X and Y axis to line it up, but okay. I'll duplicate the white and use a pink. I'll resize it. Let me use 7.2 and see if I like it. Let me see 7. Okay, I'll go back and resize the white. I think I'll use 7.8 for the white and 7.5 for the borders look too large and we need space for our sentiments. Also, there are numbers in here. Let me see. When you are moving, shifting to the left or to the right, it shows some distance in here. You can see the distance when it's moving. You can see it, this distance. It shows them. So you can use that to line your work. Then this the pink one, I'm going to resize it to 7.5. Here's my grid. Okay. So here's our design so far. Going to duplicate this green again and move it to the top and arrange. You can go to arrange or you can use these icons here. Move to front and it comes forward. Trying to make a ribbon border, but I'm not using ribbon. I'll be using cardstock or card. I'll duplicate it, change the color to white and resize. Duplicate again. You can come back and fill in the measurement as you desire with the eyedropper tool. Can drag this one in here to select this and click on it. You can get a good color. And we can get the color we desire. I'm going to drag the mouse across this this ribbon border we did. Click on duplicate, go to arrange and we'll rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. Then we can make it line. Let me move it a little bit up. Okay. Now we have a nice design. I'll bring the apple embellishment. I'll just go back, go to edit, copy, make sure the apple blossom is what is activated. Then we'll come back to this one and click edit. Sorry, activate the top layer, the top image. Just click edit, paste, or you can create a new layer and paste in that new layer. So now it has created a new layer for us. I'm just going to drag it. Then I'll go to arrange and flip vertical, because I want it to flip. Just zooming in. I want to change the colors. This white color, I'm going to change it to a bit of let me get a color of pink or so. Okay. Click it. Then this pink, I'm going to change it to white. Then I'll use, you can use either of the eyedropper tool, the one you desire. I'm going to select the green at the back, the green square, and with my eyedropper tool, I'm going to click on one to fill it with that color. Let me see, okay. Now we've done that, I'm going to select all the greens and change them to that color now. You can use the shift key so that you select multiples. And I'm gonna fill them with this green color here. Then the pink, I'm going to select the pink. Okay, this white first. I'm going to select this white border. It's not following the pattern, so I'm changing it back to the pattern. Oh, I just made a mistake. I moved it. Okay, it's, oh sorry, it's not following the pattern, so I have to go back. I'm going to change this white here, and this one, no, not that one. Okay, this white, the ribbon white, I'm going to change it to pink. Okay, then this pink, I'll change them to white. Okay, I think we have a nice pattern. Select your circle tool, just click on the rectangle tool and you see menu of tools. So you select the ellipse tool, drag it across, fill it with a color of choice so that you see what you are doing. You can decide the size. So I'm going to make this 4 inches. It's a 4-inch circle. And with my eyedropper tool, I'm going to fill it in the sequence of color as we've designed here. I'm going to duplicate the ellipse tool, fill it with the next color, that's pink, and then we resize. We can make it 3.5. Is that right? It's a 3.5 circle. I think that's too big, so I'll go back. I'll go to 3.7 or 8. Let me see. 3.7. Okay, that's fine. I'll use 3.7. Then I'll duplicate it again and fill it with white this time, and we'll make this one 3.5. 3.5. We'll arrange it the way we want to. That's nice. Then our embellishments, the apple blossom, you can use this arrange. You can, from the menu palette, you can arrange, move to front, or you can use these icons here. So just click on move to front and you come up. If you want to, we can duplicate, rotate it the way we want to, and place another one here if we desire. Okay. I'm just trying to arrange select all the, drag my mouse across the circle and arrange it the way we want to, so that we'll have space for our sentiments. I'm going to put a sentiment in here. I think I have one already. Let me see if it's going to fit. It's time to bloom. Okay, let me get the sentiment. It's time to bloom. I'm going to select that sentiment and use it. Then we go to edit, copy. So come here and put it. I've already prepared this sentiment with another software. I use a plugin. Just gonna resize it and make sure it fits properly. Then we can resize this one. Okay. So here's our finished card. You can save it as a JPEG and print it. We can, let me save it first. File, save as. One. Saving it in Affinity format so that we can have it in layer. If we want to alter it, change anything, we can do that. You can print this off, or we can layer take different colors of card and layer. That's what we're going to do when we make the handmade. You can also make, instead of making just 8-inch, you can make it the width should be 16 and the height should be 8. Just cut it into 2. Then you have your 8-inch card. You have the back and the front. We're going to do that. We are going to create the one we'll use for the handmade card. I'll click on File, New, and I'll use millimeters or centimeters. Let me centimeters. Go for 0.21. Oh, sorry, 21. Okay, that's all right. It's going to be in landscape or portrait. That means it's going to be 29.7 landscape, and we have here 21. Here we already have the, it's not this one, no, sorry, this, which one were we okay, this is the one we're designing. So here we already have the design we want. Going to select the apple blossom, go to edit, copy, And this new page that we've created, this A4 landscape, I'm going to come here and say paste. Okay. Why I'm doing this is because we're going to print it, cut it, and use it as an embellishment on the greeting card. Because here we've made it an embellishment on this card. We still need to cut. We still need to make the handmade card. We need to print it and make. And so I'll come here and say edit paste. If you are not, to make sure that you have enough space for the circle, you can use a die to cut the circle. We can come in here, select the circle, so edit, copy. Then we'll come into the A4 page and say edit, paste. Now we have that assurance that the circle is going to fit. So I'll just leave it. We'll delete the circles later on. I'll duplicate the we'll duplicate the apple blossom. So on the layer palette, just right click on it and duplicate. You can arrange it in such a way that it will fit properly, and you can have more image to make good use of the space. So here we have, and I'm going to delete this one. Don't think I need that one now. Let's delete it. Okay. And I'll put this one in here. That tells us that the circle can go with, we can use the die to cut and we'll have a nice circle. So I'm going to duplicate it. Right click, duplicate, and place it. Although we need one, I'm just going to put another one in case I make a mistake when I'm cutting. In case you cut into it. You have to be very careful. So I'm going to see if I can duplicate this other flower. Oh, sorry, this other blossom, apple blossom, because I want to make a decoupage. You cut into the flower. You can decide to cut. The first one will cut the flowers, the complete flower. The second one just cut only some blossoms to add dimension to it. So you can decide to cut it, but I'll just leave it to print so that you decide where you want to. But if not, you can still go with your selection brush tool and remove whatever part you don't want to cut. For me to see what I'm going to cut in, because it's a white on white, I'm going to leave it like that. So here we go, file, we export as JPEG or PNG, depend. I'll click on export. We're exporting the whole document. If you don't want it to export hidden layers, you can click on it. So click on best quality, and I'm going to export it here and put here certified. Yes, I'm supposed to delete the circle. If I want to, I can delete it. I can leave it and just cut around it. I'll leave it so that when I want to put the die or something, I'll know where to place the die. That's nice. Okay. So I'll just leave it. So here's our apple blossom embellishment card. Here we've used the photographic image as an embellishment for this card. Now let's go to the work surface where we'll make a handmade greeting card and use the apple blossom as an embellishment. Until then, if you desire, you can make this as an insert for a card. can go in here and uncheck this time to bloom. You can type in your own word. Uncheck this other, the other apple blossom, and you can have a nice insert for the card. So let's go to the work surface where we'll make the handmade greeting card using this apple blossom as an embellishment for our handmade greeting card. We are now on the work surface to make our greeting card. I've done some printout. This, we're going to use this as an insert. This, we are going to use this printout. We're going to cut around each of the photographic image and use it as an embellishment for the front of our card. We'll cut around the circle, and we'll make our own layering using the cardstock, the sentiment. This is another way of doing it. You can just cut around it and decoupage with this printout, with this other sheet here. You can cut around the flowers and layer it. Glue this one to the front of a card, cut around, glue it to front of a card, then you decoupage this one, that's layer it using foam pads or silicone glue. So to make our card, this is what we're going to do today. We'll need cardstock, green, pink, and white. Depending on color you want to use, it's optional. You can use whatever color you desire. Print out, printable. I'm going to cut around it as said earlier. I'm using an 8-inch square card. So it's going to be in landscape wise because I printed a label in landscape wise. So I've printed my logo at the back. And because I want to do some layering, just like how the design of this card is, the design of this printout is, I want to do that layering. I need to cut some squares. And to make my square perfect, I'm using dies. So I'm going to use the tattered lace large square to cut the square. And then the circles, I'll be using the tattered lace essential circles. You can try any circle you want and see if it fits. I hope this fits. But if not, I'll still cut it like that. We need liquid glue, scissors to cut around, and craft knife or X-Acto knife. There's some. If you are using digital cutter, then you don't need this. But since I'm not demonstrating digital cutter now, I've decided to use craft knife. For those that don't have digital cutter, we just want to do this. And when we are doing the digital cutting demonstration, we can teach more about digital cutters. Okay. There are some details in here that you want to go into. If you desire, you can go into them and cut them with the craft knife. Some of all this tiny mini detail in here that you want. So, and to do our layering, we need double-sided foam pad. And because I'm using dies to cut out the shape, I'll need a die cutting machine. And I'm using the tattered lace crossover die cutting machine. Okay. Then I'm using the grand caliber cutting plates. I'm not using tattered lace cutting plates. It's a system that you can use different plates as far as it can fit. The width can go through. You can use different plates in it. So I'm using the grand caliber cutting plate, the 3 plates together, and I'll be using the metal sheen. And to make this strip, there are some tiny strips here. To make this cross strip on the card, to cut this tiny one, I'm using my guillotine to do the cutting. Or the other side is a paper trimmer. You can use it to do the cutting. So here I want to cut the white square. I'm using setting 1 on the So I've cut the white. Before I pack the die cutting machine, I'm going to cut the sentiment out of this. So placing it. If you want it to be still, you can use low tack tape and stick it, but I'm not doing that. Just place it on top. So here I've cut it out. I have a little pink border. I'm all right with that. So here's our card. Let's start making it. I'm going to lay out the pink on the green, and then I'll layer the white. I've already cut the strips. I'm going to layer them across. I've cut the circles. I'm going to layer them, and then I've already cut out to make maximum use of time. I've cut out the flowers. I'm going to layer them, and if you see, you can see I went in to this tiny white space here with the X-Acto knife for craft knife, so you can cut that out. Let's start layering. And this is the insert. I've already cut it out. Put that one aside first. Don't put your glue too close to the edge. If not, it will smear when you're trying to flatten the card. And don't put it too far, if not the edges will lift. Now I'm going to layer the white. Then we start the other layering. Okay, let me use the hammered part of it. Like the texture is hammered card. So using the hammered side. Not enough. Some here. So here we have our strip. Before I place the strip, I'm going to put this, I'm going to layer the sentiment. So I don't place the strip too close and not have space for my sentiment. It's time to bloom. Now I can layer the strip. If you don't want to use strips, you can use ribbons. But for those that don't have ribbon, I'm going to use strip so that you can know how to alternate as you desire. We'll layer the green on the pink, white on the pink on the green. You put the glue on the white because you want the glue to go where you desire it to go. You don't want it to. I have to move this a little off the way. I'm working with liquid glue. I don't want it to pour out mistakenly. Then I'll layer, put the glue on the pink. Leave a nice border. So I've done that. This one is okay. Hammered side up. You can use scoreboard to measure your strips before you cut them so that you cut them exactly where you want exactly the size you want it to be. That's what I did. That's why you see some marks on it, some kind of embossed mark on it. That's vertical. adding very thin green edge. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to put the glue on the green now. And then place it where I want it to be on the card. You can mark your card so that you know exactly where you want to place it. And we'll trim off the excess when we finish. So with the flower, it's looking flat. I'm just going to coil it a little around the scissors. You can coil it in if you want to. You can even cut into it to make them up. I'm trying to clean the glue from my fingers. So I'm going to coil them. Be careful so that you don't cut the flowers. Don't tear them. If you want, you can bend. You can also bend it or put it on a foam pad. Then with a ball tool, embossing ball tool, you go into it and it creates that dimension. Just put it on a foam pad and roll into the middle and it creates that dimension. So before I do that, let me trim off this. So with a foam pad, I'm just going to make the foam pad smaller by cutting it in two. Place it at the back where I want the flower to have dimension. You can use glue. So I'm going to use glue for the first one, then this second one, the layering, they'll use foam pads. I think we should do that. Okay. Trying to make sure it don't come out of the... And if you want to add glitz, you can use glitter. Sorry about the noise. Let me trim. Okay, because I've done the first one, I'm just gonna trim this, trim the green part out, quickly trim it out. So I'm left with this. You can decide what part of the flower you want. After you've printed them, you can decide which part. The tiny one there. You can rotate it to make the flower fuller. Let me do that for this one to make it fuller, or you can layer it exactly how it is. So I'm going to rotate it to make the flower fuller. So here's our card. We've used the flowers and embellishment, the photographic image. Then we'll put this one, we'll glue it into later. It won't take much time. So let me just do it. Oh, I noticed that the card is a bit smaller than though it's 8 inches. I noticed that it's a bit smaller than the printout. So I've trimmed my printout to match it. I'm going to avoid some parts. Some people do put the glue on it just up or sideways there, but I'm just putting it except where you have to. I'm just putting it 4 corners, except where the sentiment is. There are just the 4 corners of this. So here's this is the sentiment. Oh, sorry, the insert. And here's our card being used. Here's a photographic image being used as an embellishment for this card. Thank you for joining me for this video of 12 crafts of card making, the technique of digital craft. A focus on photographic cards used as an embellishment in this greeting card. Until next time, happy crafting. You can visit the blog anino.ogunjobi.com for more, to see what's happening in the craft industry. Thank you once more. Bye for now.